Welcome everyone to Enlightened. Hello, hello, where we talk about creative consecration through Christ. We study the scriptures through art. My name's Eva Timothy. I'm so excited to be with you here this morning. And we have a lot of wonderful things to talk about. I literally cannot wait because this is a time to ponder Jesus and talk about Jesus. And I literally cannot wait for us to dive into some amazing scriptures and fun art we're going to ponder. Oh, this is our piece we're going to ponder today. And it's Julie's birthday. Happy birthday, Julie. How fun. Okay, I'm going to grab my friend because I know you love her so much. And we want to get going because so many wonderful things to talk about. So good morning. Let me see. Let's hope. I always hope and pray that our technology works because you just
Hi.
good morning. Hello.
How are you?
Oh, wonderful that we're here together right now. I'm so
I know.
excited.
I'm excited too. I love you. You just make me happy just talking to you, looking at your smiling face.
Right back at you. I feel the same, and I can't wait to learn from you. This is going to be so fun.
It's going to be fun to learn together. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I love this time that we can talk about Jesus and testify of him and share our love for him. So thank you so much, cute Michelle, for being with us right now
Oh, I'm
today.
so happy to do it. Yeah, I love it.
Yes, and I know most people in here know you, but maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself as people are still joining in.
Yeah.
Um, it would be
Well,
fun to hear what you're doing
I
right now.
I just well, the best things about me are I'm disciple of Jesus Christ. I love Jesus. I am a wife. I'm a mom to three wonderful kids, 13 grandchildren. I love being a nana. I did serve in the Young Women General Presidency from 2018 to 2023, 5 amazing years, and
Yes.
that was such a blessing. My husband and I have been serving as ecclesiastical leaders for the past 2 years at the MTC. He's a branch president, I'm a branch missionary, and we've loved our service with the missionaries. So that's
Wow.
just me in a nutshell. I
Oh,
love good books and sunshine and popcorn. Jesus Christ, yeah, all the
all the
things.
wonderful things. Oh, wow, that's so
Yeah.
great. So are you at the MTC serving? Is your
Yes,
calling?
we've done that for the past 2 years. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a calling. Yeah, we love it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Being with the missionaries, how lucky they are to have you and you to have them.
Oh,
So
we have learned so much. We've really enjoyed being there. Yeah.
yes. Talking about a spiritual center of goodness and light
Yeah.
and excitement for
Yeah.
Jesus. So
Yeah, for
wow.
sure.
That's really amazing. Okay, well, I know we have so much to talk about, so we can dive in. I don't know if you want to start. I have the art ready. I have the art,
Okay.
or I have the talk. It's totally up to you which way you want to go.
Okay. Well, they really tie together. Let me read. We're going to be talking about a topic I love so much, holiness to the Lord in everyday life, because I really am a firm believer that everyday life can be infused with holiness. And it's from Elder Gong, I think it was a year ago.
Yes.
And I just wanted to read a paragraph that's near the beginning of the talk, and it ties in so well with that piece of art that
Okay. I'll
I
have that up.
love. Elder Gong said, all around us are opportunities to laugh, delight, and see with grateful eyes. Ours is a gospel of joy and holiness in everyday life. Holiness sets things apart for a sacred purpose. But holiness also invites us to fuse daily living with the sacred, to rejoice in daily bread amidst this world's thistles and thorns. So, anyway, so one of the reasons I love this artwork, well, for so many reasons, it could go so many ways, but that line that he says, holiness invites us to fuse daily living with the sacred, to rejoice in daily bread. And I just think to rejoice in the ordinary, in the things that make our everyday life, and we can give our ordinary offerings to the Lord, and He can multiply them and make them enough and to share. But I love the thought of to rejoicing in daily bread, in the ordinary. And I love that holiness, when we're holy, we're consecrated, we're set apart, we're dedicated. And those are verbs. So we can really, in a sense, consecrate, dedicate, offer our ordinary offerings to the Lord, and He can make them holy. And we can find joy in that, as Elder Gong said. So that's just some of my thoughts as we get started.
I love that. I love that you're talking about like our like ordinary offering, right? Like, 'cause so this was a very ordinary boy that brought us ordinary lunch. That I find this so interesting in this story that like my heart is touched as I was reading it again because you chose this piece.
Mm-hmm.
It touched me this time like never before have I thought about Andrew. But we have Philip who's first saying, "Oh, 200 denarii won't even be enough to feed them, to have a little bit, not to even feed the whole meal," right? He's kind of like doubting, like saying, Philip's like, "This is never gonna work. Your ordinary offer, this. There's so many people," and that was like the wage for 8 months of their labor. So the 200 denarii that he's saying, if even if we had that much money, we still couldn't feed these almost 20,000 people, right? And I think it's so amazing that then we have Andrew who actually brings that ordinary boy. I thought of Andrew. I'm thinking so much about Andrew. What does he do? He brings people to Christ.
I love
And
that.
it's just so and he brought Peter, Simon Peter. He brings his brother to Christ too, right? Like again in John
I
we read
love
about that.
that.
And then he brings the Greeks, the Gentiles to Christ a little bit after that. I want to be like him. I want to be more like Andrew, that he sees this potential. I mean, it's still, he says, "What are they among so many?" Like, but then he's still acting in faith, right? He's like acting in faith. Now, I love that moment that Andrew is, what is he doing? His job is to bring that boy who's not even counted, right? He's not even counted in a 5,000. It just says
Okay.
5,000 men, but God counts him in. But I love how you said that. Like I just want to be more like Andrew, to bring people to Christ and let Him magnify, let Him do the extraordinary with our very little ordinary, right?
I love that. I To bring people to Jesus Christ. That's our job. That's what we can do, even when they are unlikely. We know that the Lord can do miracles with the unlikely, and we see that all the time. And you thought about Andrew, and I remember reading this a little bit ago and thinking about this boy's mother, who
Oh,
maybe packed him the lunch.
yes.
This ordinary lunch, this barley loaf, the two little fishes, what this was simple food. And this mother packed a lunch, maybe he did it himself, but perhaps she provided that for him and sent him out the door. And the Lord took her offering, his offering, and magnified it and fed a multitude. And I just think so many times that's what we do as men and women, as disciples of Jesus Christ, is we do those ordinary tasks, making lunch, driving carpools, working to provide daily bread for our family. And we trust that the Lord will take those offerings and magnify them. And when we do what we can, and sometimes it takes other people um, to help our loved ones get to Jesus Christ. Excuse me.
Oh,
So,
how fun you thought of the mom that packed the lunch. I like that. And it makes packing a lunch like special now. Like for all the moms that are packing lunch, you're
you
taking.
just it can be holy. I remember Sister Wendy Nelson years ago gave a talk at Women's Conference at BYU entitled "What Would a Holy Woman Do?" I don't know. You're probably
Yes,
familiar with that
yes,
talk.
I love that.
That talk, just like light bulbs went off when I heard that. And I just thought about really the ordinary tasks that we can do. But if we think of them, like how would a holy woman pack lunch? How would a holy woman do the laundry? How would a holy woman answer all these emails?
Yes.
Go to work, interact with people that are less than perfect like we are. I think that those can be holy places. And I love, can I just read a few quotes that
Yeah, of
I
course. Yes,
just
yes.
love? One was from Elder Kevin Worthen. He served as the president of BYU a number of years ago. He said, "In today's world, more will be expected of you than just to stand in holy places. My plea is not just that you stand in holy places, but that you make that you make holy the places in which you stand."
Mm.
Don't you love that? It's like, don't just stand in holy places, but make the places you are holy places. And Sister Sharon Larson, who served as a counselor in the Young Women Presidency years ago, said this: "Holy places can be wherever you are, alone, in a crowd with strangers, with friends. The road to Jericho was treacherous and formidable. Thieves infiltrated the bushes and trees, waiting to ambush any traveler. It took a kind and courageous Samaritan to change that road from a haunted place to a holy place."
Wow.
Isn't that,
Wow.
those are really profound to me, that as imperfect men and women who are striving to be disciples of Jesus Christ, we're living in an imperfect world that is often a haunted place.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we've seen that, but we, I just really believe that we just need to be intentional about filling our lives with things that can help us be holy, that we can make those places in which we stand holy, like Elder Kevin Worthen said. So, and
Yes.
that can, and someone, I just love this comment. Is it Janine? That when
Yes.
we witness of him in our daily actions, we're making it places the Spirit wants to be. And I love that. We can be a witness of him in all things. Can I share just one more? And then I'm going
Yeah,
to be quiet for a
absolutely.
minute.
This is amazing. I love it.
I
Yes.
love this topic so much, and I have loved preparing for this. But I love a scripture in the Book of Mormon in Mosiah 18:12, and it says, "O Lord, pour out thy Spirit upon thy servant, that he may do this work with holiness of heart." And I love that. And I thought, what if we put ourselves into that scripture? And we pray that Heavenly Father will pour out his Spirit upon us, that we can do work with holiness of heart, work that fills our nights and our days and the ordinary, but with a prayer in our heart that we can have his Spirit while we do that and consecrate it for his good.
Wow. 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 And to think that, I mean, because someone's talking about missionaries here too, how they're also sent out to
Yes.
they are the ones bringing holiness. I know the missionaries brought holiness into my life when I was in Bulgaria. I wanted to be like them, they were just holy, they were amazing, they had lights, they were shining. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's so amazing how God can really transform us if we're willing. And this is why I love this story that you chose so much, because it didn't matter how much the boy had. He probably didn't even know that Jesus was gonna feed all these thousands
Oh,
of people, but he
yeah.
gave, yeah, like he gave his all. And I think that's just so amazing. And the transformation that happens after that is just, are we willing? Are we willing to give our little that we think maybe not even significant? Like my dad made me think right now as we're talking, when we first joined a church in Bulgaria, we met in a little rented building on top of a soccer stadium. We take the pictures of Jesus in a little room, which was holy. It was a holy room because the Holy Sacrament, the communion, right? Some churches call it a communion, which I think it's an interesting word, that you commune with God, communion, that you become one with Him. It was in that little room. And my cute dad, he's just, and my mom, we, like, they come from the world, and lots of things to change. There's a lot of things. What can I do to be more like Jesus, more holy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it continues. It's a daily transformation that through the atonement, I feel like, because of Jesus, because He is holy, He can help us to carry that holiness and become better. And each day, it's like such a daily decisions that we make, right? That bring that holiness into our lives.
Absolutely. It matters what we watch, what we listen to, how we dress, what we say. I mean, those things, as we're
What we eat
intentional
too.
about that. Oh, yes. Like, but
I think that too.
I just sometimes I just really need a handful of chocolate chips. But but those things that, that we communicate and that we're intentional about. I think it was Elder Holland, President Holland, that once said that nothing worthwhile I know of ever just happens.
Yes.
And there was an Anglican priest years ago, John Stott, who said, no one ever drifted into holiness.
Mm.
And I think it's not by accident that people and places become holy. It's intentional, like you said, by those actions, those things that we choose every day. And thank heavens we have repentance.
Yes.
Truly, because we're imperfect. And you know what? We're just not always at our best selves.
Mm-hmm.
But when we give our offerings to the Lord, that those loaves, those fishes, when we take our 16 rocks, like the brother of Jared,
Yes.
I have a testimony that the Lord can touch them one by one and fill them with light as He can people, that He can touch one by one with His light. And it is His light and Jesus Christ that we seek.
And that's what He's asking us to do, right? Like, seek my light and share my light. Like, I feel like that, and gather, keep
Yes.
gathering, my people, because I'm coming. Like, He's telling us that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really, really beautiful, that that example of really makes me think. I think he was maybe Elder Christofferson, but he said faith is not by chance, but is by choice.
Oh, I love that.
I had that written on my mirror because I'm like, oh, and so it reminds me so much of what you're saying, that we must be intentional and um, wanting Him. And I know when life is crazy and things are just going, and because it is chaotic and it's wild and messy and so hard so
Yeah.
often, it's Jesus that brings that holiness. It's the sacrament, it's the temple. I feel like the temple is such a
Oh,
place of holiness to
yes. And
feel
I'm
that.
so grateful that President Nelson we will always remember and love him for his emphasis on lots of things, one of which is spending more time in the house of the Lord. And, those words above the temple doors, holiness to the Lord, house of the
Yes.
Lord, and spending time there can make us holy. And I, where is it? Okay, let me just look over here. In Elder Gong's talk, speaking about the
Yes.
temple, I was looking in the footnotes,
Oh
and
yeah.
in footnote 10, he said, in coming years, as announced temples are completed, approximately three-fourths of the church members will live within 1 hour of the house of the Lord. Isn't,
Amazing.
isn't that amazing? Like three-fourths of the church
I
members.
know.
Now, I know That
I
in
wrote
some,
that too.
yeah, it's just, I'm like, wow, the church is, putting a lot of effort and resources into these temples, and therefore it must be so important for us to spend time there. And I think, President Nelson talks about we need to get ready for the second coming. And that's so thrilling. And I think he's trying to prepare a people who will be ready to receive him. And preparing a people includes we need to be spending time in the temple. Of course, it is a holy place, and spending more time there. I think even just breathing the air will make us more holy, just being in a holy place like that.
Oh, I love that. I love just even in a parking lot, right? Like, and I noticed he said about the temple. Did you notice the word? Okay, this really touched me when he was talking about the temple. He said, of course, holiness to the Lord in everyday life includes coming more often to the Lord in his holy house. And this sentence I underlined. It says, this is true whether we are church members or friends.
Mm.
I thought that was so sweet. Like, friends, invite our friends to come just to touch the temple, to feel the temple, to like to breathe the air, like you're saying. I thought that was like so amazing, and that will bring them closer to him, and they'll feel the spirit, because we know those grounds are dedicated, right? Like they're
Right.
sacred as well. And so I love that he said that church members and friends.
Yeah, I
So,
don't think I noticed that. So I'm so glad you pointed that. I remember, I think many of us during COVID when temples were closed.
oh,
And, that there were many who just, and sometimes me, I remember just driving to the parking lot and just sitting outside the gates, just wanting to
mhm,
be as
mhm.
close to the
Yes,
temple.
yes.
Um, I heard a really sweet thing from a sister in our ward a number of weeks ago that I just thought was so sweet. When really hard things happened here, I live in Orem, Utah,
Oh, yes.
happened at Utah Valley University, and a lot was shut down. I have a good friend has a friend who serves in the Orem Temple, and things were shut down and traffic, but many students just fled to the temple, the
Mm.
Orem Temple that's not far from them. And they arrived in shorts, in t-shirts, wearing backpacks. And of course, the temple was so willing to just like, come, come. But
Oh,
I love that in this time of just terror and um, really just hard things happening, the first response everybody, and there's not one right response in that situation, but for
mhm.
some, it was to, go
Wow.
to the temple. And I think that we can find peace in the house of the Lord, even if we just need to sit outside. If we can't go in right now,
Mhm.
just sitting outside, like you pointed out, like Elder Gong mentioned, just that the Lord knows our efforts, and increased effort results in increased capacity, and making efforts to go to the temple, I think can increase our capacity for holiness.
Yes, and I just had goosebumps and as you're sharing that story, because I remember reading by John E. Woodsoe.
Mhm.
I believe he was saying, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, "It is the Lord's house, and if he would come on the earth today, this is where he would go. His spirit, he would go to the temple, he would go to his house." And it just really
Yeah.
touched my heart that that's where his spirit is. That's where he would come when he comes to the earth. And all these temples worldwide, and how amazing and incredible that is that we have them to.
So many. It's just so many temples. And I love that. And again, I just keep feeling in my heart, um, we just need to be there. And the Lord is trying to prepare a people to receive
Yes,
him and the blessings. And I think, of temples as holy places, and our churches, and is our behavior at church and with our community of imperfect saints, are we acting in ways that build and bless and enable others in their discipleship? our homes, those can be holy places. As we
Yes.
make lunch and send people out the door. And I remember, if I can just share a little story, meeting Sister Bonnie Hammond, and her husband was Elder Hammond. He at one time served as the Young Men General President. And I heard her speak, and something she said just resonated so deeply. And I shared this in a talk I gave at Women's Conference years ago, and I reached out and got permission to share. And she had written it up, but they were serving, I believe it was in Chile at the time. And she said they were so excited because President and Sister Hinckley were going to come.
Oh.
And they were so looking forward to that. And I'm going to, I have her words here. But President and Sister Hinckley were going to eat dinner with them. And Sister Hammond, she said in her words, "I want you to think about how you would feel if a prophet came to your home. What would you feed a prophet of God? I thought of every wonderful food I could prepare. I thought of chicken, turkey, roast beef, and caviar. I wanted everything to be so perfect for him." And then she said she came to know in her heart that more than anything else, she needed to prepare her home so that the Spirit of the Lord could be there. And she said in the end, she didn't even remember what she prepared. She just remembers it was good home cooking. And after they had eaten and were seated around the table, President Hinckley said, "I love being in your home. It's peaceful to me. It's restful. Elder Hammond, can I stay here and rest? I'm tired." And I just thought, what a sweet, that in the end, her home was a place where the Spirit was and where a prophet of God could rest. And I love that in our efforts to make our homes, our apartments, wherever we are, to make them holy places that they can be in all the ordinary. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. It doesn't have to look like a magazine. But those places in which we dwell, perhaps the most important thing is that they are a place where the Spirit can reside.
Yeah. Oh, what a darling story that inspires you to cook more and to invite people and to be more hospitable, right? I mean, hospitality was a big thing in the scriptures. That's how you showed you love God. Everyone was welcome to your house,
and that can be a holy place. And I just a little more to that story, just because I think it's so cute. It has nothing to do with food or a prophet being able to rest. But she said she was, as they were preparing to go to this meeting, she was walking by the bathroom, and cute Sister Hinckley, remember tiny Sister Hinckley, was just standing at the bathroom mirror, and she was combing her hair. And Sister Hammond, again, this is her words. She said she quietly walked in and took the comb from her and started to fix her beautiful gray hair. Sister Hinckley said, "Oh, thank you. You have magic in your hands." And Sister Hammond said, "As I fixed and sprayed and touched that beautiful head, I just felt so honored that day to touch her head. I thought of all the years she has stood by her husband and been this wonderful helpmate for him." And after she had finished, she stepped back, looked into the mirror, and exclaimed, "I look so cute." How I loved that day, Sister Hammond said. And I thought, again, what a sweet, holy act, just helping Sister Hinckley do her hair.
That is so cute.
Isn't that cute? And Sister Hinckley, "I look so cute."
Yes,
Oh,
I do feel like heaven is going to be so holy, right? And everything is going to be holy there. So we're just practicing now. We're practicing on the earth. We're learning the holiness. So what a cute example of kindness. And that's so cute. I love this comment too. "May our homes feel like heaven, so heaven will feel like home," by Sister Pat Holland, another sweetheart.
I love that. Okay. Can I Can I read another favorite little thing? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna be
please
quiet
do.
after this. It's about home because again, I just love the idea and the thought of ordinary places and ordinary offerings being made holy as we invite the Lord and our homes as one of those places. And I've always loved the writings of a woman named Gerda Weissman Klein. And she was in a concentration camp as a young girl, and all of her family members were killed, and she was the only surviving person left at the end of the war. And she wrote, I have been asked, why did you go on? In those bitter days when I lost everyone I loved, my dream I kept in my heart and pulled it out whenever the going was tough was a picture. I could see my childhood home, my father smoking his pipe and reading the evening paper, my mother working at her needlepoint, my brother and I doing our homework. And I stood struck by the enormity of the thought that those were the evenings I totally took for granted. I called them boring evenings at home. To be part of one such evening became the driving force for my own survival. When you return to your homes, approach them slowly. Approach them as a hungry, nameless stranger would, and through the eyes of the stranger, do not see what is missing, but what is there. Ask yourself, why am I so lucky? Why am I so blessed?
Oh,
Isn't that
beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? Just again, um, really extraordinary blessings and holiness found in the ordinary, in the
Yes,
everyday life.
yes, yes. I feel like God really wants us so much to be part of his miracles. Because like just thinking with these little things we think are so insignificant. They are very significant to him because it's our willingness, right? It's our hearts that matter. And I think that's what people wanting the book. We'll put it in the stories
Okay.
later. We can put
Yeah.
that reference and some of
Right.
these quotes because they're absolutely amazing. So we'll definitely do that. Made me think of David, what like a sling and a stone, like of Moses with his rod, parts of the Red Sea. David defeats Goliath. Gideon, little tiny army defeats the big huge army because God steps in, right? I mean, he is the miracle making, and he could make all those like that, right? But he asks us to bring what we have. I love that we like that willingness will bring abundance. And even if we feel like it's so little that we have to offer. And I feel that so often, like all the time, I'm like, I don't have much, I'm just like, Lord, use me. But like, it's so easy to feel inadequate. It's so easy to feel like not good enough. And these are all thoughts from the evil one. Satan
Yes.
would make us feel that. But I love how in the stories like that you chose this. It's, by the way, this is so interesting to me. I was doing a little research. There's only two miracles that are reported in all four standard gospels, and that is the one, the
Hey.
feeding of the 5,000, which is 20,000, right, and the resurrection. And it just
Oh.
made, those are the only
Oh, I
two
didn't
miracles
realize that.
in
Okay.
all four, right? And it made me think so much because this message is like, I am the bread of life. And it does say in the beginning, it's close to Passover, which is very symbolic that he's breaking the bread, giving it, blessing it in front of everyone, thanking God for the bread. I mean, this is really beautiful symbol of him feeding us, of him being the provider for whatever we're going through in our lives. And how, what a grand miracle to inspire us to think, well, what do I have? What are my small, like maybe one fish and one loaf of bread?
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel like, right?
Hmm.
What are my things that I can bring to the Lord? Like this surrender, right? This, like, I'm just going to give it all to you because I can't do much with it. And we can't. But he can multiply it. And we can, if we surrender our lives, our pain, our heartache, our gifts too. I love to talk about our creative gifts because they're so important to build
You're
up
so
his
good at
kingdom.
that. Yeah.
We all are. We all have our gifts, and I think they're pivotal for that, feeling him and having him close in our hearts. But that idea that he is the bread of life, the manna, right, of the Old Testament that sustains us. And I thought of tithing. I don't know why tithing came to my mind this morning. I was walking my dogs and like, tithing. We give so little, and then he blesses us with so much. We know what those tithing money go to. Buildings are built,
I love
chapels,
that.
temples. I mean, it blows your mind what he can do with like so little, that we can surrender, that we give, we freely. And that's why I love this. That was a boy, unknown boy in that instance, that is giving his all, like his surrendering, and the beauty, that what a lesson for us to surrender our all to him and let him abundantly magnify it, right? Which is amazing.
I love that in your comments, that really what the Lord requires from us, wants from us as we try to make holy our offerings in everyday life, is does our willingness. Like I said, he's not asking for perfection. He's not asking us to do more than we're capable of, but he does expect us to move our feet,
Yes.
to do something, to act, not just to sit at home and do nothing, or
Mm-hmm.
or even to read our scriptures 24/7. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like we have to be actively engaged in our families and our communities, in our churches, and do something. And the Lord, that desire counts for something, and he magnifies our offerings. And like you said, so often we feel, and I think everybody has felt this, like what I have to give is not enough for this situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just not. And this is something truly that it's been a wrestle for me for so long, looking sideways for my validation and comparing what I have. But when I focus on my lack, I go down a rabbit hole. I do. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in a position for the Lord to use me. I become self-consumed and focused. But when I can focus outward and focus on what can I do in this situation, not what can't I do. There will always be somebody more capable in every area, but how can the Lord use what I've been given to build and bless and reach other people?
And it's uniquely you. It's
Yeah,
so original. It's so unique,
yeah.
and that's why it's so beautiful, that it's your own gifts that are different than anybody. You don't want to be a duplicate, right? Like, so
No.
I love it. You want to be you, and he wants us to be us, and allowing him to do those miracles in our lives, and that multiplying. I remember it was a devotion. Was it a Christmas devotional that was it your niece or your
It's my
granddaughter?
granddaughter,
Oh my
Scarlett.
gosh,
Yes.
she
It was
was
the
adorable.
first presidency Christmas devotional, and yeah, and I talked
Oh
about, sharing gifts and
yes.
imperfect gifts and cute Scarlett. I remember, she was 6 at the time. And
Oh
I
my
said,
goodness.
my 6-year-old granddaughter has a gift to share. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had people comment, they thought, oh, brother, she's going to be a prodigy and prodigy. Anyway, I just said that wrong, prodigy. And anyway, and just like be this amazing, what? She's 6 years old, and
Yes.
she plays Silent Night. And if you just like,
Oh
it makes me want to cry thinking about like her little face. She was so focused, and
yes.
it wasn't perfect, and her instrument wasn't perfect. Her offering wasn't perfect in the eyes of the world, but what a sweet gift and offering that was. And she didn't hold back.
Yes.
She was so brave, and she just to offer that gift. And I think so often we hold back, and I hold back because it's not perfect. It doesn't, and our desires for wanting to bless others and have it be perfect, it comes from a good place. It comes from a heart that's wanting to give and serve and bless, but we can't hold back because our offering isn't enough. Because, like, as we've been talking, the Lord can take those ordinary offerings and make them holy and magnify them and use them to accomplish his work, to bless other people. So,
I was blessed by her playing, and I'm sure millions were watching as well. And it was
so
so real. It was so beautiful. I'm glad she didn't play it perfectly.
oh,
I
it
That was the beauty. It was real. It was like, and it was just so genuine. So like, I'm gonna get on that stage. I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm gonna do it for Jesus, and I'm gonna do my best, you know. And that what a lesson for us to
yeah.
not be afraid to stand some places where maybe they aren't holy, but bring that His holiness that's in us and stand for Him and
Yeah.
speak out for Him.
You
And
know, that is so true. I love the scripture in Doctrine and Covenants. I believe it's in 45 that disciples stand in holy places. And I remember reading that verse once. I think I was in the temple waiting, and just so clearly the thought came that disciples of Jesus Christ not only stand in holy places, but they stand for holy places.
yes.
Like, we need to stand for and defend those places and those people that are holy.
Yeah,
And we have a responsibility to do that, and then to be found and to make those places in which we stand, like we
we
talked
do.
about, holy. Yeah.
I amen to that. It's kind of a crazy story, but when we first joined a church in Bulgaria, that's back in 1992, back in the 1900s. But when my cute dad, who used to smoke and drink, and he kept changing, both my mom and my dad were, um, word of wisdom. Everything changes in their lives. So little by little, they're learning and we're studying. I brought this because this was a little gift that the missionaries gave us so we can
Oh, I
study
recognize
so
that.
we can
Yeah.
study more about Jesus. But it was like it was an incredible transformative because we were so hungry and thirsty for the gospel and Jesus.
Mhm.
And we were on one side being filled with anything and everything we possibly could. I'm translating this with my dictionary because it's not in Bulgarian. So it was hard. He was about to get the priesthood, the holy priesthood. I love that it's the holy priesthood and all the things we're learning. And meanwhile, like there's so much opposition to the church. And there's tremendous persecution of our missionaries, and so my dad's growing into this leadership. He became like, anyway, he just defended the church. He was the one person that had to face the journalists, that same cute dad that didn't know anything and kept
Yeah.
wanting to know stuff. He kept wanting because God used them to represent our church and to defend our church. And they would break the windows in our mission home like all the time.
Oh,
And so
wow.
it was just awful that we had at the end the church with the glass company because like they constantly people would break our mission home, that holy place where the mission president lived, and journalists they would, oh, it's American cult and we don't want them here, and my dad would like stand and defend. He would just in their face say, no, this is the church of Jesus Christ on the earth in Bulgaria, and we are not a cult. And he would just, I mean, family left us because they were part of the Orthodox Church. It was not, we were the only
Oh,
members.
Eva.
And so there was so much persecution and so much negativity towards our church. So I think it's just in crazy times that we sometimes don't think about that do happen in other parts of the world. But I love his example that he wasn't afraid. He knew why he was baptized. He knew that this is Jesus that he's representing and his church, and that light he carried with them, with the journalists, with everyone, trying to destroy our little branches in
Okay.
Bulgaria. They try to crush us. They literally try to destroy
That's so
all,
sad.
kicked us out of our buildings there, um, and all that work that President Nelson actually did. He opened up Bulgaria, and he even learned some Bulgarian. I learned that in the Heart of the Matter book. as well. He was sharing a little bit more about his life there and how difficult that was. But just the idea that we can't be afraid to defend, like you said, to defend the light and stand holy with him. And I wrote down. Okay, I just wanted to share this because it just touched me. Because one of his footnotes, number one footnote, because Elder Gong was saying how we should. He said this: to walk with the Lord, we must become holy, for He is holy. And to help us become holy, the Lord invites us to walk with Him. And that just really touched me. So I looked up the first footnote he used, and then he goes and tells us all the holy references, all the holy things we can do to be more like Jesus, to let him walk with us. And I kind of summarize. I mean, you guys, like later you can read it in the first footnote. It was amazing in the talk with all the scriptures that he gave us. I
Yeah.
love reading through them. But we have holy scriptures. I thought that was so amazing. They are holy scriptures. They're and the word in Hebrew, right, that it's not just sacred and pure, but also set apart from the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the Hebrew meaning of holy, which makes me, again, us setting apart. We are set apart from the world to stand up for him. And I love that. But then holy garments, that our garments are holy. That was holy Sabbath and how Jesus sets it apart. Literally, he blesses that day and makes it holy so that we can feel him more. The sacraments, that moment to connect with him and partake of the sanctified bread and water to become more holy. And Jesus is the Holy One of Israel, the Holy Messiah. There are just so
Yeah.
many holy references
Holy. Yes.
that we can ponder and study about his greatness that he allows to be part of our lives. That blows my mind away. His holiness, it's available to us. Like, we make mistakes, we're just ordinary human beings, and he brings the extraordinary, like he brings his holiness if we let him into our lives.
That's, as you were talking about, he is holy. And I think as we try to take his name upon us,
Yes.
that we can then become more holy because he is holy. And so as we strive to, make and keep those covenants, that we can experience in our lives an increase of holiness in the everyday. And that's one thing that I was so drawn to this talk and to this painting, was that holiness can be our everyday offerings, and that we don't have to be perfect. Like you've articulated so well, Eva, that the Lord just wants our desire. And the scriptures say, I don't know how, it's in Doctrine and Covenants 64, the Lord requires a willing heart. And that's what we can give to the Lord. And whatever that looks like. And honestly, for different people in different stages of life, it's going to look different. There may be some who really struggling with emotional and physical health, and maybe your holy offering is, getting out of bed
Mm-hmm.
today
Mm-hmm.
and just doing your best. Maybe it's sending a text. Maybe it's, and others, maybe you're going to go volunteer at a homeless shelter or teach Relief Society. There's not a limit to our holiness. And again, I think we need to give grace to ourselves and to others. And the Lord knows the desires of our heart. And none of us, if we're honest, are where we want to be. There, for
Mm-hmm.
each of us, we see a gap between where we are and our potential. And I think that desire for growth is innate in us. We have divine DNA, and that that gap can be a gift for each of us, if we turn to Jesus Christ, and
Mm-hmm.
if we don't focus on ourselves and our lack, but really that all miracles, and this beautiful miracle we've been talking about that I had not realized was the only one besides the resurrection mentioned in all four gospels, but every miracle begins with a recognition of lack and
Mm-hmm.
of our dependence on Jesus Christ. And so, where do we go when we recognize that lack?
Mm-hmm.
Do we turn to Jesus and have faith and trust that He can accept our ordinary, insufficient offerings and that miracles are in the making? And even the miracle of our hearts changing and becoming more like Him.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love that you just used the word more like him. And somehow as I was preparing for this um, beautiful talk that you chose, it made me think of this song, More Holiness Give Me.
Yes.
And just I love that song. It is like such a beautiful reminder um, of all those things that we stand in need of more of. And I like, oh, this is fun. Holiness isn't about focus on our lack. Holiness is about being made whole. Oh,
Isn't that
that's
beautiful? Isn't
I
that beautiful?
I love that so much. And I love that you're saying concentrate, be thankful, think what you originally have, what you are, the one that God's gonna use you to do his holy work. He's gonna set you apart and help you. And in this song, it made me think so much. I looked him up, Philip Paul Bliss. In fact, you know what I do lately to make music come more alive? You know, like underneath the song, there's always scriptures in when
Oh,
we sing
yes.
the songs. I like to look them up and then see, oh, what is this scripture? You know, how is it connected to the song?
Great idea. Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's a funny one. I actually went and I found out our church has this history of hymns. So you can study any hymn. There's like a little 30-minute podcast devotional kind of thingy on it that you can study every song, the author, how did he write it? What is the story that comes
Awesome.
with it?
Okay.
I,
I need to
yes,
I need to find that. Yeah.
I just randomly happened to land on this. It was so amazing. History of hymns. And I love this one because it was interesting. He says, obviously he wants more, like he wants to be, there's more consecration of our life to the Lord, right? This more of general conference. That's what it's coming soon. I'm like, I want more of that, you know, more of Jesus. And I thought it was so interesting that he didn't not say suffering, sorrow, and trial. Those are right in there. They're very much so part of what he wants, more holiness. Um, and I thought that that is still part of our growth because we sometimes in those hard moments, like you said, maybe we only have strength to get out of bed. We are still growing in all of our trials and all of our sorrows and all of our um, grieving and suffering and hard moments in life. We are still growing if we turn to him. And I thought that plea was very interesting that he included. He didn't just say, you know, just bless me with more things in life, but he's like, I need your holiness in those moments, Lord. And how beautiful that is that he's in every aspect of our life. There could be holiness because of Jesus. Like,
I
oh,
love that. And I really do. I love that hymn. I love the lines of the hymn. And in a way, I feel like that's a prayer that's answered as I spend time in the temple. You know,
yeah.
that spending time in that holy place can be an answer to prayer. And that song is a prayer that I feel, and that as we leave, we are endowed with his power. And that's what covenant making and covenant keeping can endow us with his power. So, anyway, as we spend time in the temple, as we take the sacrament, you know, that I think this song, this prayer can be
Mm-hmm.
answered as we strive to take his, you know, as we take his name upon us and just try our imperfect best to be more holy every day, to do those things that a holy woman would do, a holy man would do, a holy, you
Yes.
know, son or daughter of God
I
in our
love it.
individual circumstances. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful that you said that, that we the temple in the story he also shared, there was a woman there saying that the temple healed her. And I thought that was like so beautiful. And it's just, yes, seeking that guidance in the temple is so pivotal for our lives. And the story also about this is so cute about this guy that wrote this song. He was 10 years old. He was selling vegetables. They were very poor, and he didn't have much, and like nothing, and materialistically. And yet he was selling. He was a farmer boy helping his dad selling vegetables barefoot. But he hears someone playing the piano in a parlor, and he runs, drops the vegetables, and he runs and goes to hear the music, and then asks the lady at the end, "Can you play more?" And she
Oh,
realizes he's just poor and ragged, whatever. She kicks him out of the room. But the fact that he later composes music for Jesus, that same boy that like was barefoot and rugged and didn't have much or anything, but loved that music that he heard, that this piano was being played. And so I don't know, it just that he stuck with it. And because I think sometimes when we're in the middle, we just kind of give up. We're like, it's not worth it. There's so many other people more famous with me. I'm not going to use my gift. I'm not going to even go there. Like, it's not worth it. And that is the biggest lie, because we do it for God. We don't do it for anybody else. We don't do
right.
it to be famous, popular. It's for Him and His glory, to glorify Him. And I love that this talk really, like, I hope inspires us to think of our own contribution and to offer it, to surrender it to the Lord, and to let Him do His miracles for His work through us on the earth right now. Because, like our prophet's been telling us so much, I love him. Oh my gosh, every word he says is so amazing and needed. And he's like, just don't waste your time. Spend your time. It really matters, that nanosecond, right? For the Lord,
Right.
build up His kingdom. And so I love that we have that privilege to do that on a daily basis. Little things, a text, a call, food, just things that are actually so significant in the long run that build up His kingdom. Those little things
Those
are
little
so big.
things make a difference. And, I really believe I was just struck, as we wrap up that, nobody has perfect lives and all of us are carrying a burden. And I was reading in Second Nephi 2:11, and it says, "For it must needs be that there is an opposition in all things. If not so, my firstborn in the wilderness, righteousness could not be brought to pass, neither wickedness, neither holiness, neither misery, nor misery, and neither good nor bad." It's this opposite, these contrasting things. And I thought, misery, the opposite of misery here is holiness.
Wow.
And I thought, I think that's why the prophet's telling us we can have joy in every moment, regardless of the circumstance. And I think there's something really profound here about the connection between joy and holiness. And that in our struggles, no matter what's happening or not happening in our lives, that when we turn to Jesus Christ, as you've so beautifully said, and our focus is on Him, that we can be made holy and we can experience joy. So
Wow.
anyway, thank you
Wow.
so much for I just think your gifts, and I love the way that you portray joy and holiness and Jesus Christ. So thank you. And your testimony, not only your gift of art and that your creativity, but your infectious smile and your enthusiasm and the way that you model joy in covenant keeping. So thank you.
I love you, Michelle. I love you and
I
everyone
love
here.
you.
It's all God.
Okay.
We're all doing
Yeah.
His work. It's such a joy. It really is a joy
Yeah.
to be part of His
It
holy
is.
work on
It
the
is.
earth. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Okay. Mwah.
Love you. Have a
Have a good
beautiful day,
day.
everyone. Bye.
Okay.
Mwah. Love
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.